this thing is being dumb. Trying to, I don't know why all of a sudden, broadcasting to multiple, so dumb Periscopes is not working. It's so weird. I don't know what the problem is.
I'm underrated.
What?
I'm underrated.
Oh. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Okay, there you
I'm
are.
so underrated. I deserve every subscriber. I'm taking a new, I'm changing my perspective on life. I used to say I was like bad at everything. You know what? I'm the best because
there you go. That's a way to think of it. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead.
Out there, if you're a Greg's Gadgets hater,
that's good. If you have haters, that's a good thing. All right, let's just go ahead and get into the podcast because we were talking about. There's a bunch of stuff. No, I'm definitely a hater now. What is this fancy shit you're doing right here? What is this?
My espresso.
It's too fancy looking. It's ridiculous. That's terrible.
Espresso machine.
That looks so hoity-toity. It's so ridiculous.
What? It's an.
Look at that. Just put your pinky up while you're at it. It's ridiculous. It's terrible. Oh, gross. That is so gross. That is the worst thing I've ever seen. You definitely need to put that on a video. Like right at the beginning of your video, do the, oh, hi, everybody.
You live in Seattle, or like Washington. Isn't there like a good coffee culture over there?
It's all coffee over here.
Yeah, bro. Come on. People do this all the time. Travis walks on the street. He sees Fraser Crane just sitting there going.
I don't really. But all right, let's make sure your audio stuff is set properly so we can get into this because it looks like we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we got so much to talk
about. So funny. Bruh. Let's see. I just had to retweet the thing because it won't go to my whatever. Who cares? Who cares?
My levels are going clear.
Oh, you're farting out again.
So I'm not having. I knew it. I'm not having a good feeling. I don't know.
Bro, are you hardwired in or what? Because this is going to be a problem.
No, I'm on Wi-Fi, but it's never been a problem before. I just don't know what's going on.
Yeah, did you recently update something in your computer or something?
I switched my setup. I was switching like a streaming setup, and yeah, I did change some things, but I don't know why the internet would be a problem.
So it sounds you froze up again. We can't do this, Greg. You're frozen right now. Greg, you're frozen. Greg, you're frozen. Okay. We're going back to the beforecast because obviously we are not ready. We are not ready for the audio. It's ridiculous. Unless it's me. Is it me that no, Greg, come on. Greg, come on. Come back to us. We lost him. Yeah, exactly, because of GadgetCast. Come on, Greg. This is almost like watching one of his videos. Greg! He did something with his computer. Right before we started, he did something with his computer and it messed up. And he's like, "Oh, I don't know. I hope it doesn't happen during the show." I'm like, "Come on, man." Why? Terrible. Cancel Greg. Yes. Okay, look, everybody. Hopefully, yeah, I totally agree, Rebecca. Yes. Totally agree. And so now he's desperately trying to get his computer set back up now. And I thought, yeah, exactly. Hardwire cures all things. I'm hardwired in. I'm not messing around. Why would I do this? Now, listen, Wi-Fi is really strong, and the new protocols and stuff are really fast, even faster than wired in some instances. But you just never know. You just never know. So yeah, I mean, now Greg is just dead to the world. Now he's over there panicking. I guarantee you, because I'm like, bro, it's the MCP cast right now, which is okay. We could do that. I could talk or 20, 30 minutes. I don't know if I could do an hour, but we can talk 20, 30 minutes. Sometimes I just, when he when he starts talking, I just zone out and I look over here. I'm starting to watch Twitch, watching a whole bunch of 90 Day Fiance, old shows, which is really terrible. It's trash TV. I like trash TV. Does everyone like trash TV? Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Hope everyone's having a good old time. I have not uploaded in a very long time. I will hopefully try to fix that this week. We'll see. Fingers crossed. Where he is still not here. What is happening, Craig? I'm gonna text him in a minute. Oh man, I just wish that. All right, happy Father's Day, DJ. Just this is great, Greg. Appreciate the cancel, Greg. The MCP cast is here, bruh. See, because I'm not set up, like using my setup that I normally do for my Saturday morning live streams, I can't really do it. I can't really do it. Yes, cancel. Yeah, full duplex versus half duplex. Yeah. Yep. Still waiting on your video to process? Yeah, aren't we all? A lot of times we just waiting for the process. I'm waiting for Greg to process right now. He had a lot to say too, because I was telling him about how I'm watching some things on Twitch, and he was like, "Oh, save that for the live stream because I have a lot to say about that." All right, I was like, "Okay, all right, let's go." I was like, "Okay," and then blam, Greg, terrible. But that's okay. Webby, what else are y'all gonna do? If it wasn't for me, oh, there we go. That didn't take too long.
I now have a physical Ethernet cable running across my entire apartment to get to this computer. So
yeah,
you're welcome.
Yes. Oh, I'm welcome.
If this fails, I don't know, but I'm scared.
I'm welcome.
So this is different.
All right. Well, now we're gonna get rid of this, and we're gonna hit this record. Are you about ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Ready to record in 3, 2, 1, record.
Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
3, 2, 1, 0, 0.
Hello, world, and welcome to a special Father's Day edition of the GadgetCast. That's right, it's dedicated to all the dads out there. My name is Gregory McFadden, joined always with my co-host Travis MCP.
Space travel.
Still no iJustine, but that's okay. At least we get a little space travel. We get a little bit of space travel.
It's we had to work through some technical difficulties that the audio listeners fortunately don't have to go through with internet and stuff like that. I'm seeing some weird stuff in the chat from Nikius. I don't like that kind of talk on this stream. This is a family friendly stream, so we're gonna not talk about all that stuff there. But anyway, Travis, it's been a week. It's been a week. Been a weird week for me on the YouTube. I've been talking to you behind the scenes about that stuff. Mm-hmm. I've been taking screenshots of like views, and like it'll say like a horribly low number, and I'll come back like 4 hours later and it will be a completely fine number that I'm okay with and not like depressed about. And I don't know what's going on. And I hope when this all when all the dust clears, it's like, oh, this was a YouTube glitch. But this glitch has been pretty much like the entire weekend, so I'm like kind of concerned, like what's going on with my channel? Well,
I mean, some people are actually out for the weekend, so it might be that something went wrong, and some of the devs are.
It is it's a Father's Day weekend. We just had Juneteenth the other day, which is now a federal holiday. So yeah, maybe people are doing some other things. But we got GadgetCast. Travis and I, we're not dads, I think, right?
No, I'm not a dad that I know of.
I was scared. I went to the bakery today and I got like cannolis and a Napoleon, but like the lady behind the register was like, "Oh, and happy Father's Day if you are a father." And I'm like, "Oh no."
Just say thank you, and then just take whatever free thing you have.
Thanks.
I got anything free? Anything free for that is what I would say.
Yeah, I need some, I gotta work on that. But yeah, a lot of stuff actually happened this week. Windows 11 was like leaked. Some more WWDC stuff. We didn't really cover all that in the last show. We said we'd save some stuff for this show. We mostly talked about iPad last show.
Yep.
And E3 was also last week, so there was some tail end of that. We got a lot of stuff to catch up on. Yeah. But I think what we should talk about is what we were talking about just before we hopped on to GadgetCast.
Yes.
Travis, why don't you tell the people what you're watching?
So, number one, just for people that are listening, I guess we're going to be on Gear Live this week. So there's that.
Yes.
Greg and I will be on Gear Live with Andrew Edwards. For those of you who watched the YouTube stream last week, you would have seen Andrew Edwards come on after the podcast. And after that, he invited us on. So we'll be on this week. So on Gear Live, GadgetCast, the first ever GadgetCast special guest, because we've each done like interviews and stuff on other podcasts, but we've never done a gadget. That's actually interesting because really Genius Bar should have been the first one to have invited us to something like that. So it's interesting that it's Gear Live out of nowhere, out of left field, that invites us there. But yes,
an exclusive, a Gear Live exclusive. They somehow got the GadgetCast on their show. It's going to make the show 30 times better than what it is, I think. So we're doing Andrew Edwards a real solid here. That's all I'm going to say.
And John Rettinger, who we've had on the show before. We really like John.
That is true. John Rettinger is one of our first guests.
Yes.
So we got to return the favor.
100%.
You know, two guys not nearly as big as John Rettinger or Andrew Edwards coming on their stream.
That is true. So let's talk about the thing we were talking about. So over the last week or so, for those of you who watch my channel, you'll realize I haven't uploaded anything in like almost 2 weeks. And there's reasons for that. But what I've been doing to kill time is two things. Number one, I've been watching a lot of 90 Day Fiancé shows, which is kind of terrible. It is definitely trash TV, which I love trash TV. But more recently, I've kind of got into watching some stuff on Twitch. But so I only follow like 1 or 2 gaming channels on YouTube. And one of them happens to be Valkyrie, a very popular female streamer. And she started playing Grand Theft Auto RP, which is role playing. And I love Grand Theft Auto 5. It's great. But of course, it's an older game. And I didn't know what RP was. So I started watching. I'm like, this is really interesting. It's multiplayer, but it's on PC. So let's be clear. It's PC only. And the reason it's PC only is because someone, somehow, somewhere has figured out a way to mod this thing out so that it's like a role-playing game. Like there's all types of things you can do it. As a matter of fact, right before we went live, I was watching a stream of someone playing Grand Theft Auto RP. And it is really fun to watch. You have people who take on roles. You literally role play your character so you don't break character. You can be like a policeman, or you can work at the burger shop, which is the burger place. You can have a job. You can either be a criminal or be a law-abiding citizen or be a police officer. And these roles just keep going. And there's functionality in the game that wasn't available in Grand Theft Auto 5. So it's really interesting to see some of the things they're able to do with that engine without Rockstar being directly connected to it. And because this game is so old, I mean, what does that come out, like 2011 or something? 2013, 14? I mean, the thing is at least 8 years old, right? The game is at least 8 years old.
Wasn't that like a
Xbox 360 game?
3, yeah.
So it's been through every generation, and this November they're going to do another update to it for this generation's console. So it's kind of weird, like they're just milking the cow as much as they can. But if you look, really it is. And if you look online, if you look at any of it, you will find that on news that it is still making them a ridiculous amount of money. It is still making them a ridiculous amount of money. Now, having said that, September 17th, 2013 is when this game was released. That's incredible. But I'll tell you, it's a really cool way to watch the game. Now, when I said this to Greg, his head spun and his eyes rolled up into his head, and I don't know why. So you're about to hear, and I have not heard this yet, so I have no idea what he's going to say, why he is not only kind of not a fan, he's like against it or something. What is going on here, Greg? What's going on?
I'm a full-blown hater of Grand Theft Auto RP. My friends are really into this Twitch stream Grand Theft Auto RP, like Travis is. Mm-hmm. And like every time, I go over their place now, that's what's on the TV is like this. They're watching it on their TV. They got Twitch loaded up. They got their favorite streamers. And I'm sitting there for hours watching the most boring content. I just hate to say it. It's the most boring content that I have seen. And I like game streamers. I like Twitch. I like that whole scene. But I watch like these people like role playing, and I just feel like, number one, they don't get into it enough. I feel like the role playing, at least the streamers I'm watching, they're like really not into it. And it's a lot of like dead silence of them like driving around, planning for something like super big. And then it's like they plan all this out for like some like bank heist or some robbery. And then by the time like the action starts rolling, there's no action. Like they get away like super easy. They pretend like they're in like this like big chase, and there really isn't anything. They're like miles away from like the other players. And I don't get why people are so into this stream. If I was streaming this, I would be like Tony Soprano in that game. I would be quite a character, and I would keep it entertaining. So far, all the streamers, and these are like popular streamers, like the top streamers playing this game. I don't want to be a hater, but I gotta say, I don't find it entertaining. I find it super boring. And I'm like, how can people watch this?
I think it has to do with the streamer you're watching. So I've watched a couple different streamers, and some are more tame than others. The one I just got done watching, which is still ongoing, was a police officer, and that's quite a bit different because there's constant chases and interesting things, interrogations. So that's the first time I've ever seen one of those. Some of them are more laid back than others. I watched one last night for multiple hours that was setting up a heist that never happened because they didn't have everything. So, but the guy who does the stream itself is kind of entertaining to watch himself. I get it. It depends on exactly who your streamer is and if you have any type of connection with them. If you don't, much like any YouTube content, you could get bored of it as well, for sure.
That's probably it. I just don't have a connection with any of the streamers I've seen. But like with other games, like even if I don't have that like connection, I'm kind of interested in the game. Where with like Grand Theft Auto RP, I'm really not that interested in it because like at least from what I've seen, like it's really a lot of just like driving around and talking. And it's like, at least even if like there's like a streamer that I don't really connect with, I can kind of like focus on the game and go, all right, this game's really interesting. Mm-hmm. And you kind of don't get it with this because it's a role play. So it is very dependent on the person that's streaming it. You do have to vibe with whatever their personality is. And from the few streamers I've seen a couple do it. And maybe they all play together. So maybe their styles are too similar. I don't find like the streams funny or engaging or interesting in any way. So maybe Travis has to show me who he's watching. Maybe he's got the secret sauce. But I don't know. I got to get into GTA streaming. I got to show everyone how it's done.
Well, see, it would be fun if we did one. Like if you and I did one, that'd be kind of fun because it would definitely be fun. And I think it's under just the normal GTA 5 section on Twitch. I just happened to come across it because some of the streamers, like the streamer I was watching before we went live, I'll give him a little shout. Let's see. I mean, a little shout. He had like 13,000 concurrent viewers, so like I need to give him a shout. But it was Kyle, which is a pretty easy name to write, Kyle. And it was fun to watch him be a cop. But yeah, I get it. Listen, I actually get it. For some reason, it's connecting with me because I find it so interesting that a game that I never saw have the capabilities of this, and I'm constantly learning new things. Like, holy crap! Like I just saw this guy have a dog and have him sniff out drugs on a guy. Like it's incredible. Like what? That wasn't in the game. Like how are they doing this?
That part of it is very interesting, and you can actually trace back like this kind of like online GTA role playing thing to even previous iterations of GTA before 5. Like before they even had like, I want to say like people mod it like San Andreas, which does not have an online mode officially. They modded it to be online, and they started all this stuff. I read about this like a while ago, and I've heard about this way before, and I think it's really getting popular now. But there used to be people who would like, I'm going to be a taxi driver or a garbage man, and they play it straight. Like it's not like, I'm going to go rob a bank. No, they are the taxi driver. They are collecting garbage. The streamers you're probably watching are probably a little bit more interesting. They're either the cop or they're like robbing something. Right. But it is interesting how like these people mod this game and it takes on a whole new life from what the developers could even envision beyond that. And I think, whenever GTA 6 comes out, they are definitely going to be paying a lot of attention to the online element, because a lot of these things the streamers are doing actually aren't officially in the game.
Right.
And with GTA 5, like Rockstar has like their own version of like in-game currency. So you bet when 6 comes out, it is going to be, I wouldn't be surprised if like maybe like the single player is like the add-on and it's all really about this online experience, or if it's just a separate game now, like we have GTA 6 and here's GTA Online completely like free to play, but then like you just wait for those microtransactions. They're gonna make so much money.
So that's actually how Rockstar is still making a tremendous amount of money with GTA 5. It isn't that they are selling new games, it's the online portion. So what I think happened, because GTA 5 came out, it launched without an online portion. They added it later.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I thought that they were going to release DLC for the single player, much like they did Grand Theft Auto 4. But I think what may have happened is once they got 5 up, stood up and running and going good, and they started seeing the money come in, they were like, yeah, we're not going to do any more single players. They never did a single player DLC. They've been updating multiplayer. The multiplayer is incredible now. And I think it would behoove them to make an official version of either role play or multiple versions of these games, because you're right. They've been able to ride this wave for like 5 or 6 years straight. And the money train is not slowing down on this, 8-year-old game. So you're exactly right. I believe they should be paying very close attention, especially things that are working. Include that in the upcoming 6, which I can't wait for. There's no even leaks about it, so don't even ask like when that's coming out. There's nothing that says that it even exists. So whatever that happens, it definitely would be very smart for them to really focus on the online player portion of it, because that's where the money is right now.
Oh yeah, tremendous amount of money. But yeah, like I played the online like when it first came out. Like even then, like the bare bones online of like GTA, of like even like playing with like a few friends is so much fun. Like that open world of playing with it. So I can imagine like for like these streamers and stuff, it must be a lot of fun compared to like the usual like. I feel like it might even be like a lot less repetitive than what streamers usually stream, because, you know, there's so many different things you can do within a GTA game that it's kind of like limitless. And in a way, streaming, it's kind of like almost like professional wrestling in a way, right? Like it's like you got like these different personas, and it isn't so much necessarily about like skill of the game. It's more about like the entertainment of it. And this whole like role play thing, it's just the beginning of it, I think, of it getting popular. But I think like if you look at someone like I would say probably like the most popular streamer who's like a character is probably like what, Dr. Disrespect. He's like a whole character. Like he's like, it's like watching WWE. Yeah. A lot of streamers aren't like that actually, but I wouldn't be surprised within like the next 5 years, like that is it. Like that is the entertainment that people want to see. It's not like, oh, just Greg streaming a game, I'm going to check him out. It's like, oh, he's got this whole persona. He's like trash talking people. I feel like that's a lot of the direction that Twitch is going in. And I think I kind of like that actually. So it'll be interesting to keep up with this as it goes on.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll stream to my Twitch channel for GadgetCast. I do for my Saturday morning live stream. I think I forgot to do it for this show because I would love to get a little following there and play some games. I do play games, so it would be really cool to get into that. But yeah, I mean, speaking of streaming and stuff and game streaming, you also said you had something against gaming PCs. I don't really understand what that.
No, I don't have anything against gaming PCs. So that's my dilemma. So it's funny because I'm talking with all my friends about this. They kind of want to get into game streaming too after watching like all like these Twitch streamers do it and stuff like that. So that's kind of like exciting. But I'd like dabble with like game streaming, but I only do it with like console and stuff like that. Like I know like all the action is like, oh, you need like a gaming PC, and like I want to, if I want to do GTA 5 online, I need a gaming PC to do this. And I have been like meaning to build a gaming PC for like the past like 3 years now. Like I'm like, I really need to build a gaming PC. I really need to build a gaming PC. And it's like every time I sit down and go to do it, it's like, oh, this graphics card you want? Yeah, it's not in stock. Oh, yeah. This motherboard you want? Not in stock. And now it's like I kept waiting, thinking in my head, this situation will improve, and it has only gotten worse.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The PC parts now, if you go to like spec anything out with like this chip shortage that we've talked about on GadgetCast, it is ridiculous. You can go buy like the GTX NVIDIA 3070 is like a very popular card. It's like the one I would probably want, or a 3080. You're spending like, hey, $1,300, $1,400 on eBay just for the card, and you cannot find it anywhere for retail. The minute these cards go up online, it is like, it's even harder to get than like how a PS5 or a Series X goes online, it sells out in like 2 seconds. These graphics cards sell out even faster than that. And it's like, you can't even like you can't even refresh the page and see it in stock.
Yeah. The funny thing is, Austin Evans has been doing videos about this kind of very thing, and then building PCs based on, different specs and if you can get the actual card or not. And what a lot of people seem to be doing is buying things from like gaming PCs from like Dell and stuff, because they actually do have a lot of those, cards in them. And believe it or not, sometimes the computer is less than the card would be if you try to get the card by itself, which is insane. So yeah, I mean, maybe you do something like that, and then, use that PC for a while. And then if you feel like you're outgrowing it or you can't upgrade it, just buy the other parts and take the card out.
At this point, I think I have to go pre-built, which I didn't want to do. I wanted to build it myself, but I think I have to go pre-built because, like you said, they actually have the supply, and I looked online, I saw a couple of options I'd be okay with going with, where it's pre-built and you get like everything. Like if you're buying the card by itself, it is almost as expensive as just getting a pre-built PC. It's so like this shortage is so bad. Like I saw like this really funny meme, in Infinity War when Thanos takes the stone out of Vision's head, and it was someone saying like, I had to buy a pre-built PC to get the graphics card I wanted. I took that out. So yeah, like that's like the situation we're in right now, where that's kind of like the more economical route to go. And I think you're right. Like I should probably just get a pre-built PC. Any of these cards I get are going to be good for at least like the next 3 years, even if it's not the top, me, like, us, like when we build something, it's like, oh, I want the best. That's why you want to build it yourself, so you can make it how you want it. So I think I'm going to have to go the pre-built route. I'm GadgetCast viewers, if you are like into PCs and stuff like that, like if you got like the best pre-built brand to go with, let me know. I've been trying to do my own research, and it's confusing because there's a lot of brands, there's a lot of horror stories, so if you got like a brand that I should go with for like best bang for your buck, I don't know, send me email, let me know in the chat as the show goes on. I am desperate, so I'm looking at everything right now, but I do want to get a gaming PC relatively soon, because I feel like I'm missing out on I'm missing out on a lot of PC games I want to play. And it's like, I love my PS5, I like the Series X now. I just got some more Game Pass subscriptions with a deal today, so I need my gaming PC.
Yeah, I personally don't really game on PC. I mean, I can. My PC is good enough to game and stuff if I really wanted to, but I mainly keep that in the main living room, with the OLED and everything like that. So I get it. I totally get it, but I try not to. Of course, the thing with one of the main differences, one of the reasons why I usually don't game on a PC is because I'm using my PC for like work and stuff, and I always feel like you're always switching drivers and everything for games, and then sometimes it messes up things. So I don't want to ever put my gaming on top of my production PC and then have one or the other mess the other up. Now you have Macs all over the place, so it doesn't really matter for you. Just this would be legitimately for that. So
it will only be for gaming.
Yeah.
See, and like people in the chat are like, don't go for pre-built PC. I know that's like the general, that's general advice. Like, yeah, you just build it yourself. You'll get better specs. It'll come out the way you want it. Probably a little bit cheaper too. But I'm telling you, you cannot get the processors or the GPUs you want without paying super high prices unless you're going pre-built. So I would rather get a pre-built PC, pay a reasonable price for it, and then hopefully in like 3 years, this isn't a problem anymore. And then at that time, I wouldn't mind upgrading to something else, building it myself, or just replacing like a GPU or something in my system. I don't know, but
it gets you up and running. Plus it's a lot easier now to build PCs than when I was doing it on the regular, when you had to buy sound cards and stuff, but it's still kind of a hassle. Like, who wants to do all that? The funny thing is, the PC that I have with all the mods and everything was built by a fan, a listener of the show, which is kind of weird because this happened to me back when I only had like 10,000 subscribers. So this is kind of interesting, and it works great. It looks amazing. RGB
if you're
everywhere.
if you're a fan, you want to send me a pre-built gaming PC?
No, wait, they didn't buy it. I bought the parts, but they put it together for me and shipped.
If you want to send me a pre-built gaming PC, you know, I'll shout you out. I don't know.
Yeah, no, listen, I don't feel like building PCs anymore. So I would definitely go pre-built at this point, mainly because A, it's really the only option anymore. And B, for me, it's just a time saver. But yeah.
I'm also having like a lot of trouble with my setup too. Once I do get this theoretical gaming PC, I'm also having a hard time finding a monitor that I like. And I really am like picky on my monitor situation. I have one right now that I'm using that I just hate. Like it's a BenQ. I don't like it. And I want to throw it out and replace it immediately. But every like thing I look at for gaming monitors are super expensive. If you want a high quality display, like really good contrast ratio of viewing angles and high refresh rate, it is like almost impossible to find one. You have to sacrifice something. You have to sacrifice resolution, or you have to sacrifice refresh rate, or you have to sacrifice just the quality of the display. My thinking is, and it's just the crazy world we live in. I'll never understand it, but I guess you sell more TVs, so that's why they cost less money. I can get a 48-inch OLED TV, 120 hertz, which I think would be fine, right? Like I'm not competitive, but 120 hertz, 4K, OLED for like, and it's on sale right now for $1,200.
Yeah.
And that would be cheaper than any PC monitor that can do all that. Yeah. And it's OLED. Like I look crazy. LG just released like a OLED monitor, which I was like super excited for. I was like, I'm going to get this monitor. It is $4,000 for a 32-inch OLED 60 hertz monitor. And I'm just like, your TVs, I could get a 77-inch TV. And you know what I mean? So 48-inch for like a PC monitor, it kind of sounds ridiculous. It would fit in my space, but I'm kind of thinking like, maybe that would be like really cool. Like maybe that would be awesome to have, because people have like giant ultra wide monitors that are almost just as big. Yeah. Maybe I do that. I'm a little concerned about like screen burn-in. I know OLED has like mitigation. I have an OLED, I know, but like there's a difference between like TV content and then like the desktop is always there.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's a gaming PC, you're not going to be on your desktop that long.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So
yeah. So I mean, I would do that. Real quick, someone was asking what headphones we're using. These are the Soundcore Q10s, the GadgetCast version, which you cannot buy anywhere. And then what kind of computer we're using? We're just using our desktop computers. Using an M1 Mac iMac, right?
Well, I'm on a Mac Mini right now, so
he's on his Mac Mini now. He switched. I'm just on a desktop, and we're using StreamYard, which is a sponsor of the live stream. If you're interested, use the link in the description below. But yeah, I use if I'm using my LG OLED for my Xbox Series X, why wouldn't I use that for a gaming PC? So to me, it actually makes sense. And if I'm not going to use that PC as a PC where it's going to be on a browser all day, then absolutely, it totally makes sense. Like, why wouldn't you? Plus, you get the option of having, higher refresh rates and a lot of things that the functionality, like you're saying, some of the specs, especially with these new LGs that are on monitors, they have to pay so much more and get so much less. So yeah.
So I think that's the move to go with. But it's a whole situation with like the PC, like getting a gaming PC right now. It's really difficult, and but it's in high demand because of all like these like Bitcoin miners and everything else and the chip shortage. So I don't know. I'm going to find something to do. I think pre-built's the way to go. Maybe I'll get to build my own in a couple years, but
yeah, I mean, it might be just a pre-built with a TV. You know what I mean? Like, why not?
See, I should be like smart, and I should find like a PC company that makes a PC. I should be like, I have a channel. I want to get into this.
Yeah.
I'll do a video about
on it. Yep.
Trying Windows on a gaming PC. Maybe I should do that.
You can totally. Are you kidding? You probably get some people sign up right away. I mean, you're doing really good. So yeah, I don't see why not.
All right. I'm going to do that. Yeah. Send me the best graphics card.
That's right. Yeah. So I think, 4K monitors with any kind of color, but yeah, it's just like, Just really nice TVs are just easy. They're cheaper to get, and the quality. I don't know. I think some people, for whatever reason, might think a monitor is better for a computer, but I got to be honest. I can't think of, especially if you're only gaming on it. I just don't see. I don't see why you almost wouldn't, as long as you have the space. I think the main reason why people don't is because of space. You know, they're doing it on a desktop and they just don't have space for, you know, what is the smallest OLED you can get, like 48 inch or something? Like
48,
that's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. But if you have the space for it, then why not? Like,
it would take up like my whole like desk, but it would also be like so thin I could just put it like right up against the back, and I think it would just work out pretty well.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so that's gaming PCs and gaming. You know, leave us comments, leave us messages.
If you have any
emails.
advice for me, I don't know. Prime Day's coming up. Maybe I'll see like a super deal or something. I don't know. I've been looking at a couple that are in my price range that I think they look pretty okay to me. And it's all going to be built and stuff. But if you have any advice for me on buying a pre-built gaming PC, or if you just have this black market access to where I can find cheap computer parts and they're fine, you let me know. But I think I'm going pre-built, and then maybe I'll be streaming GTA 5 and you can watch me, because
the thing is, like, it's just a strange situation to be in. We're in a really weird time where video cards, which I don't understand why they're so hard to get a hold of. I've been hard to get a hold of for a very long time. This is not just the last couple of months. It's been a long time. Like
I said, like I've been like thinking to myself, I need to get the gaming oh man, these cards are never in stock. That's been like 3 years basically. Like, but it's like the like price that people would sell it at online would be like a $200 premium before, and I was like, I'm not paying that. But now it's like more than double of what these cards cost. Like, these cards are like $500. People are selling them for like $1,200, $1,400.
Yeah, it's insane.
I can't explain it. I do not understand it.
Well, okay, so that's gaming PCs. And if you get a new gaming PC, the question is, do you put Windows 11 on it? That's right. Windows 11 is right around the corner. You only have a couple more years of support on Windows 10. So you're going to have to at some point. But it just kind of leaked this week, and there's a lot of people. It's kind of some people are very anti Windows 11. Some people are whatever. But, you know, first of all, it's not out. We haven't really, we've seen some leaks of like a beta and stuff and how it seems to work. It's basically Windows 10 with a little bit of a UI change. Now, there's going to be a lot of things under the engine, under the hood, so to speak, that will be fixes and changes, and apparently better support for HDR, which is exciting to me.
Yes.
But generally speaking, it's the same thing you're used to. It's just a different name. I mean, Windows tends to do this every year that they do upgrade, which is, you know, a couple times every decade or so. Generally speaking, it's the same. There's these major jumps from XP to like Windows 7, I guess, was a pretty major one, and Windows 98 to XP and that sort of thing. Even XP to 7 was kind of similar. But beyond that, this is pretty much just like a little, from a, you know, perspective of how to use it, darn near the same thing. There are going to be these cool tweaks and everything, but it's not that like, it's not that majorly different. Not so much that people have to completely figure out how to use Windows. So with that being said, Greg, what have you thought about what has been leaked so far?
Well, first off, I was confused because I'm pretty sure when they announced Windows 10, they were like, this is the last version of Windows, and it's going to be like updates from now on. I guess that's not the case anymore with Windows 11, which is fine to me. I kind of prefer that. I would rather they just release more like a new operating system, because I feel like they'd be more invested into it rather than just doing like, oh, we're going to do Windows 10 forever. So at least you get like new stuff all the time. The other thing, before we get into Windows 11 a little bit, do you think this is like a controlled leak of Windows 11? Like the way it happened with I just feel like it was very high profile people like Austin Evans, Linus Tech Tip, who all of a sudden just had like a leaked version of Windows 11. And I think generating like a lot of like hype around like a new release of like an operating system, where like generally like, you know, like people getting excited for a new Windows operating system. It's not like crazy, you know, especially with like some of the bad ones like Windows 8 or Windows Vista. But do you feel like this was like controlled in any way, or do you think it's just like accidental?
Well, so it's funny you say that, because I hadn't really thought about it until kind of when you say it now. But more importantly, what I think is it was very interesting that the leak happened, and then very shortly after, Microsoft was like, "We have, something coming." Like typically, when something leaks, the same week their dip is not, generally speaking, any kind of a press release from that company. Like all the stuff we've seen leak from Apple, there's been no press release about that product right after, or Samsung. It doesn't happen that way. So the timing was really suspicious. Like how can you leak Windows 11 and then like 2 or 3 days later, Microsoft's like, something else is coming or something, I forget exactly what it was, but they acknowledged it and were saying that they were going to show it off or whatever. So I don't coincidence, maybe. Yeah, I'm confused. That part is the part that threw me. Normally I would say, no, I just think those bigger YouTubers just got it and downloaded it or whatever. But it is really interesting that it happened and then Microsoft was ready for like an announcement. It's very strange.
Yeah. So I usually it's like, nah, these aren't controlled leaks, but this one, it really did feel like it, especially with like the access of like, I felt like a lot of YouTubers kind of had like the same video at the same time in a way. And there's a lot of hype around it. I mean, if it was a controlled leak, I feel like it was very smart to do, because I felt like if it was just like, oh, here's Windows 11, people be like, all right. The design of this stuff too, as someone who uses like Mac OS, like a lot of people are drawing comparisons to Mac OS, especially like the start bar and the bottom's now like centered and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't really like that.
Kind of looks like Mac OS-esque. But I've seen already with like all these leaks and stuff, people have like this running on like their PCs and you can like set it to like the way it used to be. The interesting thing about this is people are saying the performance of Windows 11 is better. Like the optimization of the software itself is better, to the point where I saw like 15% better performance. So that's me like looking to like build like a gaming PC and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, the software in this is going to be good enough to get me a 15% performance boost. That's pretty high for just like new software.
Yeah, I think we saw something like that when 10 came out. There were comments about it was going to be better, and I have no idea if that was even the case at the end. I'm trying to remember. But I mean, we should see improvements. I mean, that's kind of the point of updating. Like, why else would you update? Right. But yeah, 10 was allegedly supposed to be the end. But of course, they were going to do like a 10X or 10S or something. I think Windows 10S or whatever. They completely dumped that.
Yep. So
I'm wondering why. Well, it doesn't. I don't understand how you could do 10 forever anyway. So that never made sense to me. Unless they were just going to get out of the desktop business. I don't understand how you could ever stop making operating systems. My guess is this will be a free upgrade for most people, just like 10 was. For whatever reason, Microsoft did it only for a short time. Well, it was a long time, actually. I suspect this time they'll do it for longer because everything has changed, right? Like the way everything works now is different than when even Windows 10 came out. And the expectation is if you own Windows 10, I need a free upgrade, please. Now, of course, if you buy a new PC, the licensing fee is built in and all the other things. But I don't see how Microsoft gets away from constantly upgrading the operating system. I mean, Apple isn't, and there's no indication that will ever change. And I think the expectation would always be that it would change. Why would you, even if the underpinnings of the operating system were always good, what makes you think anyone's going to want to use the same operating system 20 years later? I mean, think about using like Windows 98 now. I mean, I know that's more than 20 years, but still, it just would be weird. Don't you think?
Yeah, it would be very weird. I mean, I thought they were like, maybe when they said it was Windows 10 forever, I thought maybe it was just going to be like Apple releases like software updates that are always like free. So you get the latest version of Mac OS, it's a free update. They never charge you for Mac OS. If you get a new version of iOS, it's a free update. Right. So I kind of thought that's what they meant by like, this is the last version of Windows. It's going to be free updates forever. I don't know. Is Windows 11 going to be a free update, or are you going to have to pay for it? That's no idea. That's interesting to me, and that's what we're going to have to see at this event this week. I would hope it's a free update, but I don't know. If I was Microsoft, it would be very tempting to be like, you know what, $100 from every user. That sounds good to me. It's like, okay, we could like that's kind of hard to like leave that on the table when you do have all that control with Windows. But I do hope it is a free update, because that would be really cool, and I think that would be a great direction for Microsoft to go in, to provide free software updates kind of like everything else is now, right? Like if like Android charged you for like software updates, you'd be like, what? No.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that Microsoft must know is if they charge for updates, that's going to slow down the already slow adaptation of the operating system. I believe that's one of the reasons that the 10 was free for the longest time.
Yeah.
They wanted to speed it up because people who are on Windows desktops, they don't like to upgrade very fast.
No.
I mean, there's so many places that you can go to that still have like old operating systems, like Windows 7 or something on them. And it's kind of crazy. It's like, I think that like people who use desktops and Windows are so reticent to upgrade that you need to incentivize them. So it would be weird for them to try to charge and go, well, we know you guys are going to be slow to upgrade anyway. So let's charge you. I mean, that would be wrong-minded if they want, you know, to get people on board with the new operating system. And if they can say, hey, it's new, it's faster, and it's basically the same, you're not going to have to relearn anything, then that's a selling point. For macOS, I've never really had to go from one operating system to the next, so I don't know what that's been like on the Apple side. Could you kind of shed some light on that? As far as like usability and stuff from one to the other, they all basically the same, or was there a big transition on one of them that was like, oh, I got to relearn everything?
No, I feel like it's always been more or less the same on Mac OS. I mean, I've never really had any trouble adjusting to them. I feel like with Mac OS, though, because it is like a free update every year, right? There's a new version of Mac OS every year. It's almost like a bunch of like small changes. But then like when you look back like 5 years ago at like the old operating system, there's a lot that changed. But because like the buildups, it's kind of like smaller. It's not like done like in like a 5 years later, there's a new operating system. Because it was all like these small features added at a time, I think it gives you a lot of time to like learn everything. And then like, but when I do look back at like older versions of macOS, I'm like, oh wow, like they changed a lot about how this worked or how this looked. And yeah, so the build up there for macOS, I think, is smaller. I feel like the updates aren't like revolutionary, but after a while you do go back and you're like, oh, that is a bit different, but it gives you a lot of time to like learn the new features.
Yeah.
And then I'm really excited for this next version of macOS Monterey, especially with like the iPad stuff. That universal control stuff, I think, is like so cool. And it's like something that only Apple could really kind of do in their ecosystem. So it'll be interesting to see. Like, I'm very interested to see this Windows like 11 reveal. I also think it's strange like that Microsoft is like Windows 10 support is ending in 2025, and like I guess like everyone knows there's a leak of Windows 11, but like they haven't officially announced any new operating system yet. So it's like, how come you like? It's always like, well, why'd you announce that you're ending support for Windows 10 in 2025 and you didn't announce your next operating system yet?
Yeah, because I think you want people to get scared and be like, oh, what are we going to do? And then, oh, by the way, here's this thing. But speaking of that, let's talk about the things we missed from WWDC, because we did miss that last week. What was it we missed talking about? Because I think, Monterey.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Monterey. We basically just talked about iPad stuff last week. Yeah. I think we pretty much hit the...
And iOS we did a little bit too, because I talked about how I really liked some of the changes for iOS. So we kind of covered that, but I think Monterey, which this is really you. This is all you, because I don't have the ability to upgrade to Monterey on anything. I don't know anything that can support it at the moment. So what is it you're looking forward to most, and what are your expectations from? Oh, wow, you've actually been playing with it, right?
Yeah, I have it installed on my MacBook Pro. A lot of the features that I wanted, like the feature I want to test out really badly is universal control. And that still isn't available on the beta. There's only been one beta out yet. So hopefully, like, I think like maybe this week we might get a second developer beta. But that's what I really want to try out, having like my iPad hooked up, and then like, I don't know, maybe like put my MacBook and then my iMac, have them all like working together. Like the fact that you could take something from your iPad and drag and drop it to your Mac, it is like, I don't know if it'll change the way like I work or how I set things up, but it does have the potential to do that. It does have the potential to have me use all of these products at once together, which is not something you typically do. It's like, I'm either going to use my iPad, I'm either going to use my phone, or I'm going to use my Mac. Having something like a drag and drop feature, and it just like works all the way through like 3 different computers, I don't know. That's something like completely different that I haven't played around with. It could be a completely dud feature too. I have no idea. But the way I'm thinking it works, it sounds like super exciting to me. There's also some other really cool things. Like, we joked around about having the iMac as like the kitchen display. Well, on Mac OS Monterey, you could do AirPlay to your Mac now. So that becomes even more of a reality because you can walk in and all of a sudden you have like you're playing YouTube on your phone. You can AirPlay that directly to the iMac. If you have like Apple Music going, you can AirPlay that to the Mac. It also lets you kind of use your Mac as another display. So if you have like a iMac laying around, I mean, I don't know who does. I mean, I do, but if you have like an iMac laying around that you're not using anymore and you're using like a MacBook Pro, you could AirPlay from your MacBook Pro to get another display on the iMac. And Apple even let you do that through a wired connection too. So it's not even just through Wi-Fi. You could actually just do a direct wired connection. And that kind of gives you the ability to use your iMac as a display, which they used to let you do. They used to have something called target display mode, and they don't do that anymore. I think it has something to do with like the way the chips inside there to display 5K. I don't know. Renee talked about it in one of his videos, and he's smarter than me, so you should go listen to that. But yeah, no, it's cool. The AirPlay stuff, that's working right now, and it's really cool. Works really well. Works like AirPlay does on like Apple TV or any of those other devices. The universal control, still haven't had time to play around with that, but I want to do that really badly. Hopefully next beta. Some of like the live text stuff, which is available on all of these things, iPad OS and iOS 15. That's kind of like Google Lens has had that, but it's really nice to just have that like in like the default apps you use. And it is really impressive. Like I took like a photo of like a menu and it's like, yeah, you just like copy and paste it. It's like, it reads all the text and everything I've tested it on so far, even with like older photos that I took, it was able to read the text. And that stuff's like really cool and impressive, like next generation features.
Yeah, I mean, some of that was available in some Samsung phones a couple of years ago, but it's a great feature. And things like auto translate and stuff like that are life improving features, especially the ability to be able to strip text from photos and stuff, and trying to understand what something is. When you take a photo of something, go, oh yeah, where was this, or what is this place, or whatever. I love that the AI that we have available to us now can figure that out. And give you some kind of quality of life improvements. Now, with that, we're also a lot of times trading privacy for that. But, Apple spent a lot of time in WWDC talking about privacy and really trying to improve that. It's one of the companies that really seems to be doubling down on that and really seems to be very upfront about like, look, this is something that's very important to us. Privacy. Like they're talking about it a lot. And I believe it's making companies like Google and Samsung have to talk about it. Certainly, you're not going to hear Facebook talk about it too much because I don't know if they can talk about it. But yeah, it's certainly like something that seems to be really important to Apple, which I dig. And if that's something that's important to you, listen, the reality is for the people that are worried about things like echoes and stuff, like, I don't want a microphone in my house listening to me all the time. Well, okay, first of all, you have a supercomputer with a GPS with cameras and microphones around you all the time. So you need to go ahead and give up that dream of not worrying about having any privacy. Your privacy was gone a long time ago. Now, if you want some sort of privacy, I mean, you're not going to get total privacy, not anonymity. You can forget about that, especially if you're using tech. Beyond that, like, if you're going to have tech in your life, you still do want some level of kind of support there. And that's what Apple is really focusing on. And I think you'll see Samsung really kind of do the same thing. Apple did it this year with doing more on-device processing for Siri and such. And I think you'll see more and more of that as these processors in these devices are so powerful that it's actually great that you can do this stuff off grid, as Sonny says in the chat. But by and large, like, with data being so, and for those who don't know, companies that can actually sell your data, I mean, they make tons of money just knowing how old you are, where you live, and what you buy. Like, that stuff is gold. And that's what, generally speaking, is what's being grabbed by these apps and stuff. So understanding that and understanding that Apple is really trying hard to give you the ability to privatize yourself as much as possible has been pretty cool.
And they are making good efforts to do that with like their services and stuff. They introduced like iCloud Plus, which is if you have like the iCloud storage plan, it's just like a free upgrade. Mm-hmm. But they're basically giving you like, it's a pretty simple like VPN basically, but it's built right into it. It's called Private Relay. And that's pretty powerful because VPNs can be a little bit technical at times, and where like maybe like your average user like wouldn't use a VPN, even though maybe they could be. And this isn't like, this isn't anything crazy. Like there's a lot of VPNs that you can use where you could be like, oh, I'm connecting into Japan, and all of a sudden you can access like Japanese services. This is just kind of like hiding where your data is coming from. But that's going to be built in free for a lot of you, or not free, but built in with this iCloud plan for a lot of users. And then also hiding your email. That's included with iCloud Plus now. So like if you send an email, I saw this like on my betas, there's like an option now where when I fill out like a form, I can generate a random email that will forward to my email address. So Travis and I talked about before when we had Shannon on about like security, and like one of the things with like a YouTube is like you never reveal your YouTube email,
right?
Because that is a way for hackers to just instantly have the target, even if you have a security key and everything. It's even better if they just don't even know where to start.
Right.
With something like this could like, you should probably still make a separate email, but this feature would even allow you to like just use one email, and then anytime you fill out a form, you could be like, this is my email, and it's a totally fake email that these companies are getting now, and it will forward it to the correct box for you so you can read your email, but none of these companies actually have that physical email. And that is so important because a lot of the way these hacks are getting done now is just like, there's, say you have like I don't know how many passwords you have for like different accounts. Say you have like a Target account, and then you have like 50 other accounts that aren't even affiliated with anything, but they're all hooked up to one email. Well, all of a sudden Target has a data leak, your email is included in that, and there's your password listed right next to that. Now you should be using like different passwords for every site, but a lot of people don't. So now all of a sudden they have your email, they have your leaked password, and they have a target right there. With a feature like this, where you can just instantly hide your email, and it's instant, like it's right there. It says you want to hide your email when you send this, and it's like, yeah, just use it. Why not? Like no one needs to know your real email unless it's like someone close to you and they need to constantly keep sending you stuff. When you have like a data leak and then like Target leaks your data again, they have like this completely bogus email, and I think that's really cool. Like Apple talks a lot about privacy, and a lot of companies do talk about privacy, but they consistently back it up, even with different features. This is interesting though, because I feel like this is really the first time that they have monetized privacy. And I don't know if that's a good thing. Like maybe these should just be standard features. Like I know they want to sell like iCloud, and it's like 99 cents, right? For like, it's not a lot of money. Like if you want to get a plan, but in a way, I feel like this is kind of like a traditional break from Apple just offering these privacy solutions for free. What do you think about that?
I think it's smart. You need to pay for this stuff somehow. And it's not that expensive. Like I think I have the 99 cent iCloud or whatever the heck it is. And it's a forgettable charge. It's 99 cents. Not that big of a deal. If it was $5 or $6 or $7 or $1, like as much as a streaming service, we're talking about something different, but we're talking 99 cents. You can back up your phone. It makes, I saw that one of the things in iOS, which I never even talked about, is the setup for new phones is going to be even easier. So they have some new things from transitioning from an older phone to a newer phone where you can do it, which I love this. You'll be able to do it from iCloud, even if you don't have the storage available.
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I'm complaining about this being behind 99 cents, but you're right. That used to be something where like, if you don't have the 200 gigabyte iCloud storage plan, forget it. Yep. And it's like, well, they're going to like lend you storage basically. They're going to be like, all right, you have like 30 days. We're going to give you this storage so you can back up your phone and then transfer it easily. You're right about
Love it. Love that. When I saw that, I was like, that's amazing. So yeah, I mean, there's options for everything and options for everyone. I actually did a video about this, funnily enough, for the TV show that I do bits about as far as storage options. So there's lots of options out there. I think the easiest thing is obviously if you have an iPhone, you stick with Apple. There is one thing that we do need to talk about, because it's actually brought up in the chat, is that some of the new features are only going to be able to be used on M1. So let's quickly hit that, because that's important for people who don't know.
Yeah, I don't have like the exact list of features, but there's like quite a few of these features that are completely tied behind M1 Max. And that was something like we talked about, like going into this transition, like how quick are they going to leave Intel Macs behind, or how long are they going to support them? Now, macOS Monterey is coming to Intel Macs, obviously, but it's like this does not look good. Like if you have an Intel Mac, to me, it kind of like is like it's these M1 chips, whatever the architecture is. Apple has an easier way of importing a lot of these features over, and I don't know if these will officially be supported by Intel Macs. These are betas, right? Like these can always change. By the time Monterey releases, maybe everything that we talk about is supported on Intel Macs too. But I do feel like Apple wants you to use an M1 Mac. Like they are. I feel like the transition of the support for Intel Macs, I don't think it's going to be as long as maybe you might have expected.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously things like this, when they are hiding some of the features behind a processor, which I can't remember the last time anything like that was done. I mean, I guess maybe in some instances it's done. Like some of the portrait effects, I guess technically were done on some of the phones, yeah. but we also attributed that to having dual lenses versus one. But I guess technically it was behind the processor. But for on the desktop side of things, I don't remember anything like that being the case. So it's really, really interesting that they've done this, and it's a line of demarcation, which is good for them. I think they need to do this to help move people over more, and an additional reason to upgrade to M1, as if there wasn't already enough reasons.
And I don't think it's anything like I don't think it's like an artificial barrier. Like you might be like, oh, they're only doing this so you buy an M1 Mac. I think it is like an architecture thing of like the chip has like all this like machine learning. It has like the same image signal processor as like an iPhone. I think like the portrait mode stuff with like FaceTime, I think that can only be done by M1 Macs. And I think they're using that technology for the features of what is actually built into the M1, not processing power, but all the other special sauce that Apple makes with their chips. And that is why these features are only supported on M1 Macs. And if Apple can make those features, even if they can't bring them over to Intel, that probably is the right move. Like they're eventually going to have to rip the Band-Aid off. There's going to be features they want to do that can only be done on their latest chips. And if they have to leave some people behind, well, I think that's fine, because as long as you're still getting some support, you're still getting like features and just like the operating system for compatibility reasons. You bought the Mac for the features it had then. You don't buy it for future features you don't even know about.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll have to see what happens over the next little bit. I think what we will see is Apple slowly nudging people towards that, and rightfully so. It's time. The power usage is less. The processing power is amazing. As these newer generations of M's come out, you're not even going to want to be on Intel, I think, unless Intel does something different drastically. But I think at that point it won't matter, because they won't be an Apple machine. So regardless of anything, you might as well move over. If you get a good deal on something, some of these refurbished deals we talked about are incredible on Apple's website.
I'm looking forward to when they get some refurbished iMacs in, so I can.
I might actually buy one once it gets to that point.
Yeah.
I saw one finally. I finally went to an Apple store and saw them in person. They are quite nice looking. I also went and saw the white Magic Keyboard in person, and I agree. I actually kind of want it, but again, it's still a ridiculous amount of money for a keyboard, and I already have the other one. If I could trade mine in towards it or something, or maybe I could find someone to buy mine to buffer the cost, then I will do it. But it's just a lot of money for a keyboard. I mainly use the space bar. That's about the only key I use on it.
What a world are we in where we're looking for a keyboard trade-in program?
It's dumb. It really is, but I need that. I need that to be done.
I'm sure you have more luck selling it.
Yeah, probably. Probably. Now, have you been? When's the last time you went to an Apple store? Has it been a while, or?
It's been a long time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's too bad, because I want to see if anyone has recognized you yet. So I guess not.
And I wear my, like, every time I've been in last time, I've been like, wearing my mask and stuff. So
yeah, but that's actually, I think, changing. I thought I read somewhere that they're not gonna. A lot of places now are letting you go in if you're fully vaccinated.
I still wear mine when I go.
I still do too, but I guess wait. China has them, so I can. What does that mean, Sonny? Sonny Dixon hit me on the DMs, man. I don't know what that means, but I like what you have to say. So Sonny Dixon, you hook a brother up. We love Sonny. Yeah. Anyway, hit us up with some messages and stuff, because we have these email addresses and stuff that people aren't using except for the spam people. So hit us up with some thoughts about what we've talked about today, especially Greg's thoughts on gaming PCs and his need for some recommendations. And if you got a hookup for some GPUs.
AMD only, no Intel machines. Yeah. Thank you. AMD.
Anything else we want to hit up before we zip out?
I think we said it all. Make sure you catch us on the Gear Live podcast. I'm sure we'll mention it next show. But catch us on that. Check our Twitters. We'll tweet about it when it goes up.
Yep. Show notes will have all those links, of course. Links in the description below, baby. You know how we do it. I'm just excited to be back. I love seeing y'all. I do want to real quick, and I don't normally do this, but I want to give a quick shout out to Felix Gray. I'm wearing some glasses by them. They're going to sponsor an upcoming video. The reason why I'm shouting them out here is not just because I kind of like the product, but because I am late on getting them their clip. So I just want to give them a little love. They've been very nice. Not all brands are nice. So thank you, Felix Gray, and I'll definitely have something to you really soon. So hopefully we'll be able to make that happen. But anyway, as always, he's Greg. I'm Travis. This is GadgetCast. See you next week. There we go. And there's all the M1 only stuff.
That's how it's done.
There's a lot of stuff. I don't know what Sonny's talking about, man. I'm kind of excited. What's this? The Poets have 39. He was with John Redinger recently, so we can ask him about that. So he gets 39s every week. Wow, you should talk to the Poets, man. The Poets is cool. He's a nice guy on Twitter.
Yeah, he is nice. If he has a hookup,
holla if you hear me.
Do it.
Sonny was talking about the M5. Either that's the new Apple processor or a BMW. So there you go. Not sure which is which.
M5. Just gonna jump from M1 to M5. Yeah, the M5. What?
The M5. I need to get going. I literally need to shoot this Felix Gray thing today. I was supposed to have it last week, and then I need to figure out. I probably will be at Vid Summit, Ace. I will probably be there with vidIQ. Yeah, BMW. And Greg and I haven't figured out exactly when the first time we'll meet. We actually haven't met yet in person, believe it or not. That'll happen. Maybe CES or something. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm not real, so you know.
This is true. Oh wow, Sonny, what'd you get? You got a new car yesterday. What'd you get?
What? Buying new cars. Come on.
Sonny buying cars, man. He's a baller. Shot caller. What have you done, Sonny say here? Oh, what is this? Oh, that's cool. What are those? Sonny Dixon. I see what you sent me. Those are cool. I like those. Those are cool. I'll send Greg that same picture. They're neat though, but I don't understand exactly I understand what I'm looking at, but I don't understand what I'm looking at. Like I understand what I'm looking at, but I don't understand why I'm looking at it. I guess that's what I'm saying, Sonny. I don't really understand why I'm looking at that. But it's cool though. It's cool looking. Okay, look, I need to get going and start shooting this thing and then also look at some more Twitch because I need to watch that as well. Everybody, thank you so much for showing us support. We love y'all. Hoping that you're doing all the big things during the week. And make sure you check out everybody that my stuff as soon as I decide to upload something again, and Greg's stuff. He's got some stuff out there. And we'll see you guys and gals next week. Peace and love. And don't forget, listen to the audio podcast and leave us a rating on Apple. We need that.
Do that.
We need that. All right. Peace and love.
All right.